This is Geometry Chapter 3 Test Review. Today we're going to talk about the things you must know and how to construct for the Geometry Chapter 3 test. So here's the list that I provided for you in class. And I'm going to go through each of these, demonstrating them with the compass. So duplicating a segment requires that you first draw a ray. So I've been provided with a segment here, but I want to make sure my ray is longer than that so I have extra room. Then I'm going to take my compass and I'm going to place it from endpoint to endpoint. And I'm going to transfer that same size down to my ray, starting on the endpoint and making a mark. And this mark is where my other endpoint would be. So this would be A prime and B prime. And they would be identical in length, so I could put hash marks. The next one I'm going to demonstrate is how to duplicate an angle, and again you want to start with a ray. We're going to take our compass and we're going to place it in the corner or the vertex of the given angle, and you get to decide how big you want the arc, but it needs to touch both sides of the angle. I'm going to take that same measurement over here and I'm going to make an extra large arc just so I have enough room. Next I'm going to measure the width of the angle, which would be the intersection points here. So I'll place my compass on one of those points and my pencil on the other to show the width. Transfer that width over to my intersection here and make a mark. Take my straight edge and I will connect from the vertex, or sorry, the endpoint through the intersection, and then I have two congruent angles. This one I could name C prime. Next we're going to construct perpendicular lines. So we need a line to start with. And then I need a point, and the point can be on or off the line. And then we'll need our compass. So I'm going to place my compass on my point that I created. I'm going to make my pencil go across the line, and it just has to be able to hit the line twice. You can make a full circle if you want to. I'm going to make my compass slightly bigger at this point, and I'm going to place it on the intersection points to make what I call a fishtail, but it would be two intersecting arcs. And where those arcs cross is where I'll connect back to my point with my straight edge. And then this would create a perpendicular line to my original line that I had. So I put in the 90 degrees. Parallel lines are similar to perpendicular lines. So I'm going to start with a line again. And I'm going to place a point that is not on my line. Could be on your line if you wanted to, but I want the parallel to go through that particular point. And then I'll grab my compass, and I'm going to place my compass on the point just like I did before. Stretch my pencil so that goes across the line. This time I will make a full circle, however, but I have enough room to make my parallel. From these two intersection points, I'm going to make my fishtail marks. So I'm going to open my compass slightly larger, place it on the intersection here, over here as well. And then I'll connect with my straight edge from my intersection all the way through the circle. Alright, next I'm going to take my original circle that I made and the new line, and I'm going to use those intersection points as my new intersection points to make two more arcs. So I'll make them sideways here, going off of that one and this one. And where those two meet, I'll take my straight edge again and connect through that original point. And I've created parallel lines. So my original line is parallel to my final line because both of these came out as perpendiculars. Next one is bisecting an angle. So I'm going to take my compass and place it in the vertex of my angle. I'm going to open it to any size that I desire, but I just need to make sure that it's going to hit the angle sides, each of them. I'm going to take that same size compass. I can make it bigger if I want to, but I'm going to place it on the intersection points of the angle sides and the arc. And I'm going to make some arcs in between the angle sides here, from both of those intersection points. And where those two arcs cross, I'm going to connect back to my vertex. So I have an angle that's been cut in half. So this portion and this portion are the exact same size. Constructing a perpendicular bisector, we need to start with a specific segment length. It does not work with lines. So a segment would have endpoints. And perpendicular is meaning that I'm going to make it into a 90-degree corner, but bisector means I'm going to cut it in half. So I'm going to take my compass, place it on one endpoint and go more than halfway across and make a semicircle. And I will flip my compass around and repeat on the other endpoint without changing the compass size. I'll take my straight edge and connect the first intersection down to the second intersection. This creates the 90 degrees, and it also cuts my original segment in half, so each side is the same length. Next, we're going to construct a triangle given two sides and an angle. So I'm going to grab my compass and my straight edge. Whenever you're duplicating something, you want to start with a ray. And I'm going to first duplicate the angle, so I'm going to make an arc through the angle, make that same arc through my ray. I will measure the width of my angle. I'm going to transfer that width down here to my ray. And I'll take my straight edge and connect back to the corner, making it extra long for extra room. So now I have angle F. Oops. F prime, it's a copy. Next I'm going to measure my longest segment FH. I always like to work with the longest ones first. So from F all the way to H, and it looks like my compass might not be long enough. So unfortunately I have to shrink this size up for us. Okay, so F to H, my longest side there, and I'm going to have that be the base of my triangle. So I'm going to start on F and make an arc mark, and where that arc mark is, that would be point H prime. And then I'm going to go up to my FG segment, measure from F to G, start on F again, but this time I'll do the side length, and that would be point G prime. And then I'll take my straight edge and connect G prime to H prime. And I have a triangle. Okay, next we're going to calculate the slope of the segment. And remember, we're finding our rise and our run. So first we want to find our rise, and then we want to find our run. The rise are our y's. And so let's say I wanted to calculate between A and B. I first need to label which one's my x's and y's. So since A is my first point, this would be x1 and y1. And B would be x2 and y2. And then I'll just put this into the formula where we take y2 minus y1, so 10 minus 2. And then I'm going to do x2 minus x1, or 5 minus 1. 10 minus 2 is 8. 5 minus 1 is 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2 over 1, or just the value 2. You can leave it as a fraction or a whole number, it doesn't matter. Okay, now if I wanted to compare two segments to see if their slopes were parallel or perpendicular, I'd obviously need another pair of endpoints. So if I'm comparing segment AB, I'll call this AB here. This is the slope for AB. And then I'm going to repeat maybe with CD. and see how those slopes compare. So I'm looking at these 2 points now, and this would be x1, y1, x2, y2, and I'll repeat the formula. So this time it'll be 7 minus 8 over 2 minus 3. 7 minus 8 is negative 1. 2 minus 3 is also negative 1. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 1 over 1, or just the value of 1. So now, in this case, these slopes are not identical, so they're not parallel segments, and they are also not opposite reciprocals. The opposite reciprocal of a slope of 2 would be negative 1/2, and the opposite reciprocal of a slope of 1 would be negative 1, because technically the ones are the same, so flipping them around is not going to change the value. So since these are not identical and they're not opposite reciprocals, these segments, AB and CD, are neither parallel or perpendicular.